Greetings friends and welcome to the weekend shave video with me, Justin the Red Island Shaver. So this week, as you see on the title, it's going to be the beginner's guide to wet shaving from start to finish. So I think as a YouTuber or wet tuber, it's important we all kind of put our own little slant on this and have our own little how-to video. You know, people tune in every week and they see the shave, they kind of see the products, but they don't really see everything that goes into a wet shave. And for somebody that may be new to this or looking at getting into it, there may be a few questions they have. So I'm going to try to address them all in one video so they don't have to search through a bunch of things on a channel or a bunch of different channels. And I'm going to try and keep this not too terribly long as well. So we will get right into it. So for this week, we're going to use the same razor as last week. It's a great entry-level safety razor, and that is the Edwin Jagger DE89 barley handle. So this is a three-piece razor, so simply all you have to do to put a blade in it is just, I like to grab the sides of the top cap, and you just unscrew the razor like so. Handle comes off, base plate comes off, and then you have your top cap. Okay, if you can see that. And most importantly, when you put this back together with a blade, make sure you put the top cap and the bottom cap together correctly. On a regular razor like this, the bottom plate will only go on one way and allow you to shave. So, like so. If you can see that. If you put it on upside down, it will not allow you to shave, which would look like that. The safety bar will be in the way. You won't get any blade feel on the face. Now, the semi-adjustable razors like the Rockwell 6C, 6S, stuff like that, the plates are the same shape on top and bottom. Each side has a different blade gap, so you can put them on whichever way you want. But with a razor like this, it's very important it goes on one way and one way only. So that's that. So we're going to load a blade in it. Something that doesn't get shown an awful lot. So the blade I'm going to use is a Voskhod. And like most blades, this comes in a tuck of 5 in a cardboard package. And it has this outer paper wrap. Then it has an inner wax paper wrap. So what you want to do is you want to open up the outer paper, and you want to be really careful when you take these out. A, you don't want to cut yourself, and B, you don't want to manhandle the blade inside that wax wrap, because these blades have a very fine microscopic edge, and you don't want to be jamming them around in this wax paper because you can actually damage the edge. So I like to just unfold the end flaps here, nice and gently. It's very hard to do this on camera. And then just open up one top flap. Just try and get it open here without rubbing the edge. So there, I've got the top flap open, and most of these don't have any glue. So I got the blade exposed. I will just grab the tab of the blade and just pull the wax paper away. So there is your double-edged blade. Double-edged because it has a cutting edge on the top, cutting edge on the bottom. In the middle are your slots where your blade locks in. Different razors have different ways of doing this. So that's kind of universal. So all you need to do to load this is take your top cap, this is the way I like to do it, and just slide that over the posts, taking care not to touch the edges. I'll flip that around so you can see. So that's sitting there on the posts. Take your base plate, make sure it goes on the right direction. Like so. Put your handle on, start the threads, and either grip it with the top and the very bottom, or on the sides, right here, keeping your fingers away from the edge, and just tighten down. Now, some razors have the tabs on the side covered. This razor does not, so if you can see that, you can just see the edge of the tabs sticking out. So when this gets almost tight, what I will do is I will take my towel and I just lightly grip the sides of the razor. That way I don't cut my fingers on the tabs, and then you just torque that handle down the last little bit. Just needs to be finger tight, and that way it protects your fingers. So now we have a blade loaded in the razor, and now you want to check your blade alignment. So you can see that side is all nice and even. Flip it around, that side is nice and even. Okay, so there's your 3-piece razor with a blade loaded in it and ready to go. So I will set that down. Before you start shaving, you need to know which way your beard grows. So I'm going to wet the face, and I will show you how you do that. So I have 2 days of growth, so really all you need to do to figure out your grain growth is you just feel your face. Grow your beard out for 2 days, 2 or 3 days. So you're going to feel some roughness in the direction that's with the grain, and it's going to feel really, really rough against the grain, like sandpaper. So for my face, straight down on the cheeks is with the grain, and then if I go sideways across that, that's going to be called across the grain, and then going up is going to be against the grain. Then my neck is where it gets tricky. My neck, it goes sideways from right to left. I do a modified across the grain on the neck because I'm a straight razor shaver for the most part, and I can't go completely sideways with a straight razor. It's pretty much impossible. So I do a modified, and then when I do the against the grain, it's a modified also against the grain / across the grain. But that's what you need to know to start out. That way you'll be shaving in the right direction right from the get-go. Maybe the first couple of shaves you will try and avoid the across the grain, but you know, you will do your with the grain and then your across the grain, and then maybe leave the against the grain till the end. All right, so now it's time to lather. And I have a brush sitting here in a scuttle full of hot water. It's soaking. For starters, I don't think you can go wrong with a synthetic brush if you're just getting into it. You can get lots of synthetic brushes for a very good price. And the nice thing about synthetics are they're soft, they're easy to build a lather with, and you don't have to break them in. You don't have to defunk them and get the animal smell out of them. They're ready to go right out of the box, so it's a great choice for a first brush. So my brush here is the Coyote Cuts Latherizer. It's a 28mm synthetic knot and a custom camouflage handle. And we're going to use a high quality soap today, and that is First Canadian Polar Vortex. It's a beautiful blend of peppermint, leather, lavender, cedarwood, citrus. Very, very nice soap. So all you need to do to load your brush is just shake out most of the water. You want a slightly damp brush, and you're just going to swirl it in the tub until you get a good buildup of soap on the tips and then into the knot. Now generally these, I'm going to just add a little bit more water, this brush just a little bit damp. Generally these First Canadian soaps are fairly soft, but this one, I think with the menthol, it's set up a little firmer, because this is a very mentholated soap. So I'm going to load this one quite heavily. Most hard puck soaps, you're going to load for 20 to 30 seconds minimum. And basically they will start lathering in the tub, as you can see. And then when your brush gets good and full, you know that you have a good load. So there you go. You can see that started to build up. That's an awesome starting point. That's what you want to be looking for right there when you are starting to lather soaps. And I'll just get some of that overflow and put it right on the face because I don't want to waste that. All right, so now we go into the build the lather segment. So there's two ways of doing this. You can bowl lather or face lather. I like to face lather. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to spread this on the face. start getting it worked in. And I'm going to start adding water. And basically this is the same principle as you would do with bowl lathering. If you were in a bowl, you're just going to work this in a bowl until you start getting peaks. And you're just going to add a few drops of water. And then you're going to work that water into the lather and aerate it. And then you're going to add a little bit more water. For face lathering, it's the exact same principle. But instead of aerating it in the bowl, you're aerating it on your face. And I like to do the face lather because I don't use a pre-shave or any other prep like that. So this essentially is my face prep, is working the lather into the face. And you may ask why, you know, a brush and a soap and all that. Well, for one, this is these artisan soaps are of way higher quality than you know, your canned shaving creams. And the object of using the brush is to help the beard hairs stand up to be shaved, and the soap helps clean the beard hairs, which makes them brittle and easier to cut. If your beard hairs are soft, they're not going to want to cut. And I'm going to add some more water here. This is the third application. If your beard hairs are soft, they're not going to want to cut. They're going to want to lay down, and they're going to get pulled out of the follicle and pulled out of the root. And it's going to lead to ingrowns. If your beard hairs are cleaned by a high quality soap and they're standing up, they will be brittle, they will cut easily, and you will end up with a smooth shave without ingrowns and irritation. So now we have a bunch of water added into that. Now we're going to splay the tips, which means push it against the face, like so. And we're going to agitate the soap. And this is where the soap is going to pretty much triple in size as far as volume goes, and this is going to be the scrub that cleans those whiskers and gets them standing up. And as the lather starts to build up on the face, I'll just scoop it back into the brush, redistribute it. Working in around all areas. It's a lovely scent on this. It's probably one of the greatest parts of wet shaving is getting a bunch of different soaps and scents and trying them out and having a very nice variety instead of just reaching for one can of shave cream all the time. You know, you get a very nice choice. Add just a little bit more water because I know the soap will take it. It's very much trial and error at the start when you're first learning how to build lathers as to how much water a soap will take. But if you do a good heavy load, in my experience, a good soap will probably take about 4 to 5 applications of water. And by application, I just mean like a few drops, or you just dip the tips in the water. And any high-end soap with a sufficient load will hold up to that amount of water, no problem. So that's a good lather right there for me. It's nice and creamy. Nice coverage on the face. You can see getting some peaks on the brush. And it's very cold. I like this soap. Very mentholated. And as you can see, the brush is full of soap. There's a lot of residual lather down in the flow through. So this knot is completely full of soap. So we'll clean off the bottom of the neckline, and then we will rinse and dry the hands. You want to have dry hands when you're doing this, or as dry as possible. Alright, so we have the razor, and we're looking for about a 35-degree angle. So put the razor on your face, and you just tilt it up to about 35 degrees, and then you just glide the razor down your face. So this is what's called the first pass, and this is with my grain growth. Now this razor weighs in at 65 grams, and you just let the weight of this do the work. You don't need to push it into your face. Do not push it into your face and drag it. Just let it glide. And this soap, believe me, is very slick and it will glide with no problem. When one side fills up with soap or cream, just simply switch to the other side. Since it's a double-edged razor, there's a blade on both sides of the head. Put on your face and then just drag that. When you're first starting out, try to just stay to the areas that have soap or cream. As your technique improves, you can rely on the residual slickness of these soaps to go over areas that don't have any soap or cream on them. But if you're just beginning, just try and stay to the parts that have the soap. And I'm just using very gentle strokes and just gliding this, just letting the weight of the razor do the work. There's no pressure and there's no rush. So now we'll quickly rinse off. Now we'll activate the residual slickness on this soap, which a lot of soaps have nowadays. The residual slickness is what's left on the skin after you've shaved off the initial layer. And adding some water to that and rinsing the old layer off will help boost that residual slickness. And now we are ready to apply the second lather. So wet shaving is all about beard reduction. When you are doing your rinse, you are still going to feel hair. You are not going to get all your whiskers in one go. That's why we talked about the with the grain, the across the grain, and the against the grain. Because basically, to get a smooth shave, you have to remove the whiskers in layers, so to speak. And hence the term beard reduction. So that was the first layer, essentially. The first direction. Dry the hands once more. So now the second direction in the beard reduction for me is across the grain. So that's going to be starting at the right ear and going right to the nose and the mouth area. So the same 35-degree angle. And just let the razor glide. You will quickly know how your angle is working. You shouldn't feel any tugging or pulling. All you should feel is just the razor gliding across your skin. And this is my modified pass on the neck. I'm kind of going on an angle. Kind of doing an against the grain and a across the grain at the same time. But I've also been doing this for 5 years now, so I have my patterns are down pat. And as you get used to shaving this way, you will develop your own techniques as well, and what works best for your skin and your beard growth. These, of course, are just tips and basically a starting point to get you started. Wonderful scent on this soap, one of my favorites, heavily mentholated, a very, very slick soap. And a very, very slick soap paired with a very sharp blade lends itself to a very nice shave. And if you decide to pursue this type of shaving, once you get your technique down, your patterns down, I can guarantee you these will be the smoothest shaves of your life, with no irritation, no ingrowns, no red spots, just nothing but incredibly smooth skin. And you'll be smelling great too, because we have all the nice high-end post-shave products as well. So this is my third pass in the beard reduction. This will be on my neck. It will be across the grain once again, but from a different direction, from the bottom to the top. And then on my cheeks, it will be a full against the grain pass. to really remove what's left of the whiskers up there. Once again, just letting the razor glide. You should be able to hear it cutting there on your end. But it's not digging in. I'm using no pressure. Just letting the weight of that razor do the work. And now we'll do the cheeks. Beautiful. Not a trace of whisker there. You should really hear some feedback here because this is really against the grain, so this is really where you're getting those hairs. Beautiful. All right, so that's my 3 passes. I'm not going to do a touch-up. That actually ended up being very close to a perfect shave. So I'll rinse off and I'll go through a couple of options for a post-shave. All right, now that was a cold water rinse. Cold water feels really nice in the face after a shave. I used warm water during the shave. I used cold water at the end. Kind of like getting a tattoo. If anybody watching this, if you've gotten a tattoo, when they're done, they give you a rinse. Some cold water and some cold antiseptic, and it feels really, really nice on the skin. You want to pat your face dry. You don't want to rub it. You don't want to rub your freshly shaven skin. Just want to pat it dry. So now is where, if you want to use a post-shave product, you do. Some people use what's called an alum block, which is basically a little chunk of alum. They wet it, you rub it on your face. It's an astringent. It will help tighten your pores, tighten your face, and it will give you some feedback on your shave, whether it was a little rough in some areas, you put a little bit of pressure on, you dug a little deep. If you have any like minor nicks, it'll help seal those. I don't use alum anymore. I like to use witch hazel with aloe vera. So we will go ahead with that. Just spray, or I just pour a generous amount in the palm of the hand. Rub your hands together. I'll just rub that into the skin. And this doesn't sting or anything. It's just an astringent toner. It just helps tone the skin after the shave. All right, so now, well, that's drying in. A couple little things you need to do to end your shave. So your razor, really all I do with mine, I just give it a good rinse. Make sure there's no soap in it. Just blow on it a bit to get a little bit of the water out. And then I'll just simply dry the handle. And then I'll just give a little swipe right across the top cap. Some people take their razors apart, dry the blades and all that. I've never bothered doing it. I've never had any issues with rust or anything with any of the modern blades. And then that's ready to go back into a holder or wherever you want to keep your razor. And then you want to dry your brush. So all you do is just clean out your knot. Okay, so all the soap is out of the knot. Just shake it out. And you just want to take a towel. And this really comes in handy if you are breaking in a boar or a badger brush. But even for perfectly drying a synthetic knot, you just take your towel, take your brush, and just lightly splay the tips on the brush. And just wipe it back and forth. That's all you need to do. Nice and gentle. Now with these brushes never break in. They stay like this. They maintain their shape. But a badger will break in. It will bloom, and so will a borer knot. And that's all you need to do. And then if you have a stand, now's the time to put it in the stand. I like to put mine in a stand. I like to keep mine knot down, so it just sits in there like that. That way any residual moisture in this knot will not drip down into the epoxy. This stand also has a slot for a razor. So just set my razor in there and the brush. And now my shaving tools are dried and they're put away and they're in good condition for the next shave. So now that the witch hazel has dried in, it is time for a post shave. So I'm going to use a splash today. Most artisans, when they sell a soap, they offer the matching splash, either in splash form or balm form for the most part. Depends on the artisan. This artisan chooses to use a splash, and we will go with this. This is a witch hazel based splash. There's no alcohol in it. There's all sorts of good stuff in here, like lots of good skin foods. It replenishes the moisture in your skin. It helps repair your skin after the shave. Because even if you do get a nice, perfect, smooth shave, you're still essentially dragging a piece of steel across your skin. So there are going to be micro abrasions. And finishing your shave with a high quality splash or balm will help repair those micro abrasions, and it will leave your skin feeling soft for the remainder of the day or the evening. And plus, 9 times out of 10, these splashes match the soap, or the balms match the soap, so it carries the scent on for the rest of the day. So that is the video for today. Kind of the guide from start to finish, how to load your razor, and how to do the shave, how to pick your passes, how to care for your brush, and all that good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that. This didn't clock out to be too long, which was great. Thanks for joining. I really do appreciate it. If you do like these videos, please consider commenting and subscribing and leaving a like. So I will leave you with that. As always, friends, have a great day and an even better shave, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks. Bye.